Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Checking the pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by Nebraska Spine Hospital here in an off-season where there's more stuff to talk about seemingly than during this season. I've done more shows since the Husker football season ended than I think I did during the season. Definitely not boring around here in Husker Nation. Now, I got to admit, I've been doing the Carriker Chronicles for 6-7 years. I've probably done, a couple thousand shows in this studio. I think I've maybe done one other gut reaction in my studio. So I feel a little weird doing a gut reaction. This is my gut reaction to Cam Jurgens declaring early for the NFL draft. I feel kind of weird doing it in here. But anyways, I digress. My gut reaction to Cam Jurgens declaring for the NFL draft early. Now, first and foremost, people kind of saw this. This wasn't shocking. Okay, we knew it was kind of out there. He was making that decision. Folks like myself kind of thought he would probably go just based on things we were hearing. But let's go backwards. Okay, to Cam's recruitment, to him starting throughout his career and projecting forward to the NFL. Also, let's look at how this affects Nebraska's offense and the Husker football team going forward. But let's go backwards to 2018. Cam was the top consensus prospect in the state of Nebraska. Okay, he's a Nebraska boy. He's a homegrown guy. He was a top consensus high school prospect coming out of the state of Nebraska in 2018. Now, he was a converted tight end to center when he got to the Huskers. In 2019, he made history in the season opener versus South Alabama, becoming the first Husker freshman to start a game at center since the NCAA restored freshman eligibility in 1972. Now, I had private conversations with coaches going into his first year of starting as a freshman, and they loved his talent, his ability, his athleticism. Their eyes would get wide. I'll ask him, hey, who's a dark horse? Who should we keep our eye on? Who's going to surprise people? Who's really talented? Who do you like? I'll ask them, and their eyes, when Cam's name would come up, would get really big. Frost, even publicly, at times compared him to Dave Remington and his potential, his future here with the Huskers. Now, Cam started 3 years for Nebraska. He still has 2 years of eligibility left due to the COVID eligibility rules. Obviously, he will not be taking advantage of those years. He'll be taking advantage of being able to go to the NFL early. Now, my thoughts are this on Cam. Extremely talented. I agree with their assessment. Very athletic, very talented young man. Good football player, especially once he fixed the snapping issues, which plagued him. Okay, probably much, much longer than he would have liked. Okay, he had all Big Ten performer written all over him, in my opinion, had he come back next season. I think he absolutely probably would have been an all Big Ten performer. Okay, and he's I predict he'll have a good NFL career. The ceiling for this kid is extremely high. Had he come back and developed a little bit more, maybe he'll get drafted, I believe. Maybe even would have been an even higher draft pick, potentially really high draft pick. Okay, now I have no doubt that he got feedback from the NFL on what they thought of his potential, where they thought he might go. So I'm just the things I've heard. Cam's a very intellectual human being, so I have no doubt he put a lot of thought into this. And he made a very well-informed decision about declaring early for the NFL draft. Another year, like I said, may have helped him at development, improvement. I mean, he hadn't played center really until he got to Nebraska. So he was kind of playing catch-up, going from tight end to center. You could see him getting better each and every year. His future is bright, no doubt about that. Very talented, a lot of potential as he heads in to the National Football League. Now, as far as how this affects Nebraska, I feel like some people want to ignore things that you can't ignore the fact. This is my opinion. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments below if you think I am. But you can't ignore the fact that offensive guys, in my opinion, more often than not, tend to leave rather than stay if they've got the option to go, or if it's out there that they're deciding or debating. Going back to last offseason, this offseason. Okay, guys on offense, more often than not, seem to go somewhere else, whether it's transfer portal, NFL, or something like that. And I know guys on defense have done it as well. Damian Daniels did earlier this year, but more often on offense, it tends to happen than on defense. Guys like Adrian Martinez, Austin Allen, Savion Morrison, Marvin Scott, Cam Jurgens, etc. Okay, how does this affect Nebraska? You look at who you could argue were the three most experienced players they had on offense, okay, or however you want to look at it. The three players on offense they could have built things around the most going into this next football season. For Nebraska, they're all gone. All right. This isn't a doom and gloom show. I'm just pointing out what everyone already knows. Austin Allen. Okay, he's decided to go early to the NFL. He was all Big Ten. He wasn't just all Big Ten. He was the Big Ten tight end of the year, set passing and receiving records from the tight end position for Nebraska last season. He will not be coming back. Our best offensive lineman, a probable, like I mentioned before, all Big Ten offensive lineman. If he kept progressing and improving like he had, and Cam Jurgens is gone, Adrian Martinez, who holds several Nebraska records, including most career total yards on offense, was 10,792. Now, regardless of whether Cam would have started next year, regardless of how you feel about him, he would have been in that mix. Okay, all those players are gone. Now, one of the things I think that's been hurting Frost the most, he recruits a lot of talented guys. Think back to all the talented individuals who've been here at Nebraska. I think one of the things that's hurting him the most is some of those guys not sticking around. If they don't stay, you can't develop them, you can't help improve them, it's a different day and age in college football. You got the transfer portal guys. In my day, because I'm an old fart now, or at least that's what my kids tell me, guys wouldn't leave early unless they were going to be a really high draft pick. Well, things have changed, and some of that's beyond Frost's control. The transfer portal has changed college football forever. NIL has had an effect as well. Kids going early to the draft, whether they're going to be a first or second round pick or not, is also different than it used to be. So those are things that Frost is dealing with as well, but so is every other coach in America. Now, in conclusion, I wish Cam all the best. As I've mentioned, he's got a very, very high NFL ceiling. I have no doubt he's going to have a very productive NFL career. For Nebraska has plenty of talent, okay? Probably more than anybody else in the Big Ten West and more than most teams we play. They have exciting new coaches on offense. What I'm curious to see is how do they fill some of those holes going forward. Until next time, Husker Nation, go Big Red. Give this video a like, and always remember to throw the ball. Thanks again to our sponsor, Nebraska Spine Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, when it's your spine, you do not want to mess around, and experience matters. That's why you can trust the experts at Nebraska Spine Hospital, the region's only spine-specific hospital. They are the best at what they do.